righty then. It's time for Six Rings and Football Things Mailbag. That's right. All the questions that are pressing in Patriots Nation from you, the Foxborough faithful, the Pats pals, and the Six Ringers will be answered today with this fabulous forum of football freaks that we have assembled here. And of course, the Six Rings and Football Things podcast is brought to you by our friends at the FanDuel Sportsbook. FanDuel, make every moment more. FanDuel.com/6rings to take advantage of some of their fabulous promos like their no sweat first bet, same game parlays, and of course now their best promotion, Fade Fitzy, where you listen to the picks I make every week on the Patriots game, bet against, and make yourself a king's ransom. You got me today. We got Mike Cadlick, our beat writer from weei.com, joining the party, and of course Jumbo in the house. We took the best of the questions that you folks brought to us from the social medias together. But first, gentlemen, are there any sort of just as it is the bye week now? I know Hart, we've talked about it on Six Rings, the post game, the regular on. Mike, you have written at extraordinary lengths. You did an excellent job, and you guys will be presenting in podcast form your State of the Nation at the bye as well, coming up tomorrow here on the feed. But just any opening remarks or anything that came to mind as we were preparing to answer the questions from the frustrated, the curious, and the desperate of Pats fans.
Yes, this is an absolute poop show because it is falling apart. No, it is. And I'm being dead honest. Like, you now have Bill Belichick is the one pillar of 1 week at a time, Patriot way, best interest of the team. Now he's clearly got one effing foot out the effing door in Foxborough. I mean, everybody has now accepted that he's gone next year. They're blowing it up. Jason McCourty's the latest to say they're going to blow it up. You have all these reports that somebody is moving the pieces around already. And I'm writing a column for this now that'll probably actually be active on the website before you can hear this. So I don't know where the time
So go check it out.
So go check it out, or maybe you already checked it out. But I think
you checked out like Belichick.
You may have checked out. Exactly. Like, if I'm Christian Barmore, what did you say,
You're
Bill?
a big person.
I'm a big dude. Big dude. I'd like to be that big and athletic and, have $100 million contract on the horizon. But why am I going to listen to Bill Belichick? Oh, wait, you're already out the door. Or if I'm Kyle Duggar, who's going to be a free agent, oh, wait, you can already be talking to your next team, but I have to pretend I'm still fully invested in the Patriots before I can look out for Kyle Duggar. I never thought I would say this. They have a lame duck head coach who has a credibility problem right now. There is no credibility in anything he says if I'm a player on that team.
And so, Mike, let me ask you this as we get to your opening remarks at the halfway part of the season. If you now potentially do have a lame duck head coach in the legendary Bill Belichick, and you're not sure who's taking over next year, unless there are backdoor underground dealings between Robert, Jonathan, and Gerard Mayo, should he be the HC in waiting for the NEP, who's handling affairs to make sure this doesn't go completely to pot and just, burn up on reentry?
Well, that's a good question. That's I think we'll end up getting to that. I think that's one of our mailbag questions is about who's making the decisions right now. And it's an interesting point. And the answer is, I don't know. And it's difficult to tell because you're right. Belichick's halfway out the door. The reports are coming in and out every single day. There's a new report in the Boston Herald from our Six Rings friend, Andrew Callahan, that 80% of the locker room is out on Mac Jones. Nobody even knows if he's going to be the quarterback for this team, not only next year, but moving forward this week. They won't answer the question. They still haven't made the decision, quote unquote, according to everybody else. There was question marks on who they were going to send to Jones and Mego yesterday at quarterback for their interview. So nobody knows who the quarterback is. Nobody knows who the coach is next year. Nobody knows who's pulling the strings. It's really, you're right, Andy. It's blowing up. It's all unraveling in front of them. We have a lame duck on our hands. I don't know who's making decisions. It's a good point about everybody who's in these contract years, and not only contract years, but some of their better players. Why am I supposed to sit here and work my tail off when the coach already has a lucrative deal, if we want to use Ian Rappaport's words, with the Washington Commanders or the Chicago Bears or wherever in waiting? Nobody really, it's bizarre. You never, ever thought you'd see this with this team, with this franchise. But here we are. It's week 11 at the bye, and we're talking about blowing it up and Bill Belichick being gone. So good times.
Cadlick's in on my dark horse candidate for Bill Belichick to take over another team, Andy, the Chicago Bears. I laid it down earlier on a pod we did for a little Breaking Boston Six Rings collab, Mike. I think if there's a team that's going to emerge out of nowhere vis-a-vis the way Tampa did for Brady, 2 top 5 picks plus, a couple of pieces to work with, he could probably have them contending in a year or 2 tops. But that's for a different.
Also dropped Tampa Bay for Belichick, which I thought was kind of interesting.
I don't really get that one. I don't really understand.
He would literally be following.
That's Brady's an aging defense
down there again. Yeah,
like that team is old.
I don't like it.
You're following Brady's like sloppy seconds, and I mean, who's your quarterback? Who's your and I don't know that people put enough emphasis on the fact that Bill is 71 years old. He's not 54. Like,
he needs to go somewhere that they're going to win.
But that's why Chicago doesn't make sense in my opinion, because they're going to have the number 1 pick or Justin Fields.
You're 3 years
go to
away.
LA. Go to the freaking Chargers. That's the team Bill needs to go.
Chargers, Cowboys. Chargers, Cowboys are the 2.
Cowboys.
Cannot wait to see all the pictures of shirtless Belichick in San Diego, just like on the beach, going to Padres games. We're going to listen to Don Orsillo here back at Petco Park. And look who's in that former, now current Chargers coach. Wait a second. They belong in San Diego. I mean, Los Angeles. Yeah. I mean, Belichick would be in LA. Oh, Hollywood Belichick. That's right. See, even I keep forgetting they don't play in San Diego. That's such a disaster. Oh, man.
What the Dodgers. It'll be Bill and Shohei Ohtani.
Oh, kill me now, please. Oh, please just make it stop. Is this all we have to pay for the 20-year run? Like, is this like the karmic retribution in the bill that's come due?
This is actually a good thing.
Here we go.
What the disaster that we're in mired right now?
You can actually start moving forward. I don't know whether it'll be quick. I'm not saying it's a good thing for 2024 or 25, but you can start moving forward. Now you have to have some faith and trust in Robert Kraft and Jonathan Kraft to hire the right people and do this the right way. But I actually think this is a good thing. You've been mired
I don't hate
in
that.
Like,
go ahead.
What's the last 4 years been? Has that been good? Cam Newton.
It's been a fake rebuild. It's been a bridge rebuild. It's been the kind of fix the pieces and bring in Cam. Now
so it's basically just been like, so it's like real estate staging where they make the house look really good to sell. Then you get in there and you're like, it doesn't look like it did in the pictures or when I came to
you look behind the curtain and the wall is rotted and covered in mold. And you're like,
and you guys made me deliver ask plus 10% and all cash, no contingencies. What bullshit is
this? Made out of construction paper. And
they tried duct tape and WD-40 for the last 3.5 years. Now you can actually bring in a competent contractor to fix the damn place.
It's just going to take a while. Look, sometimes divorces are the best way to go in relationships. You just have to get through paperwork, and then U-Hauls have to pull up, and it gets messy. So let's try to make some sense of it right now here in the mailbag on Six Rings and Football Things. Boys, here we go. Let's start right off the top. At Bobby F. Brewster wants to know, all right, give me your 5-point plan to save the Patriots. Cadlick, you go first.
All right. It's really a 1-point plan split up into 5 different things, because the 1-point plan is blow at the end up and start anew. And there's no trying to patch what you have together on this team, at least offensively. Like, you can keep the defense the way it is and what have you, and keep those players. You got Barmore and Duggar and obviously Christian Gonzalez to build around, but offensively and structurally from the top, you have to blow it up. So 5 points is new coach, new QB, new GM, an offensive weapon, and an offensive lineman. And whether you do that through free agency, whether you do it through the draft, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, the coach, whether it be a trade for like a Mike Vrabel or whether you go get Bobby Slowick or Ben Johnson in Detroit, whatever, like you need a new coach. Belichick's time is up here. And what that's going to do is involve the new quarterback, which is point 2. And whether that's the draft, if you end up with the 3rd or 4th pick, maybe you take – it depends on obviously where you end up in the first round. If you end up in the top 2, you take one of the quarterbacks. If you end up at 3, you take the receiver. At 4, you take the offensive lineman, and then you do the other 3 from there. But need a new coach. You need a GM as well. And then QB, O-line, wide receiver. You need to hit all 5 points this offseason in order to get this rebuild going.
I like it. I like it a lot. Andrew?
Okay. So I'm going to play my hits here. And I agree with Cadlick. Blow it up is the first step in this 5-step process, the most significant step. I would go after Mike Vrabel. I said that a few years ago, although the standings in the AFC don't necessarily strengthen my point, because you'd be replacing the coach of the worst team in the AFC with the coach of the second worst team in the AFC. So I don't know how excited we get about that, but change of scenery. Mike Vrabel, younger. I think he's a bridge guy that bridges old school, new school. I think he can interact with players, but also can be a hardo. I love that about him. Draft a quarterback. I don't know if it's, as Mike said, top 5, or if it's, as Fitzy has advocated for, swing back around after you get your Marvin Harrison and either late in the first or early in the second. You need a top 2 rounds quarterback to build around. I also think you need a veteran quarterback, but that's not one of my bullet points. I actually got these out of order. I would try to go get Kevin Colbert. He's my favorite general manager of all time, formerly ran the Pittsburgh Steelers. My guess is you couldn't get him. My guess is he is happily retired. I believe his son still works in the Steelers front office, but I would try to get Kevin Colbert. I actually think Belichick's one of the best GMs of this generation. I know people love to poop all over his drafting, but for a while he was really good at it. The bottom fell out. I like Kevin Colbert. I think that's the most important question they have to answer. Not even the coach and the quarterback is the guy who's going to run the organization. And he's the only name I can think of. I would hope that the Crafts have a longer list of names to pull from for that job, and young guys, old guys, whatever it may be. But I think those are the keys. And, get Vrabel in town, get Vrabel working with a general manager he trusts, that he can work hand in hand with, and get your quarterback. So I know that's kind of like a 3-point plan for a 5-step process, but the other steps will fall into, if you hit those, the other steps will fall into place.
Yeah, you cannot stress enough how important it is. And this goes to the Bill Barnwell piece that we discussed yesterday on the podcast that has been widely circulated throughout Pat's Nation this week and beyond. You cannot have any more friends of Belichick on the staff. Like, the fact that the castle is now just filled with relatives, friends, and yes men, former lieges, employees, and connections. It's done them no good. For the last time, and I'm sure I'll still say it again, even though every time I say it, I say this is the last time I'll say it. Bill, the GM, has done Bill, the coach, so much dirty. There is no way they can get out of it until they just make massive sweeping changes. It is what it is, kids.
So where are you guys then on? So I'm curious on Gerard Mayo then with you guys. That ship sailed for you as well. Don't do it. Let it go, because I feel like they're still going to try and make that work.
I'm not a hard no. No on him. You can convince me. So I said to Fitzy during one of our podcasts, so Robert wanted Bill Belichick to be the head coach after Bill Parcells, but didn't think he could, didn't think the timing was right, had to cleanse the Parcells away. And I think you're probably going to have a similar instinct again, although maybe he learns from that and says, no, I wanted Bill Belichick then, and that would have been the right move, and it would have started the dynasty earlier. And I do think Gerard Mayo is not your typical beholden to Bill Belichick. I actually think, if anything, he's probably a little anti-Bill Belichick at this point. He gives a little attitude every now and then in his responses and what he's lived through, and he's not the coordinator. And I would still, if I'm Robert Kraft and I'm all in on Gerard Mayo, I don't just say, I wish I could hire him, but I got to cleanse everything Belichickian. I'd hire Gerard Mayo. I would trust my instincts. I hired Pete Carroll. He's a pretty good coach. I hired Bill Belichick. He's a GOAT coach. I would hire Gerard Mayo. So no, Mayo would be, I wouldn't bring back a Patricia. I wouldn't bring back a McDaniels. Right. I wouldn't. Mayo, I still believe Mayo's his own man more than those guys are as a coach and a leader. So he's still on my list with Vrabel and others.
Yeah, it'd be great as long as he comes in and brings his own people and doesn't, no offense to any other people named Belichick or O'Brien.
See, I think he'll have Steve and Brian on the staff.
Okay, then he's got to go. Maybe that's the first question.
And they're not.
Gerard, if I kept you, would you keep them?
They're good at their job. It's just right. I need everything to change. I want the intro music when they come to the stadium to change. I want all sorts of stuff to. Yeah, seriously, it can't remind me of what it was. It needs to be something different. It needs to be its own entity. And if Mayo can do that, I'm cool. If it's going to be hanging on to previous vestiges of greatness and Patriots days gone by, hard pass. All right, moving on. At Patriot 37. If Bill's going to be shown the door, then who released Jack Jones?
Well, I'm pretty sure they probably all agreed on that.
I think that was
there's probably a few things they can agree on right now. That's probably one that might unify them.
Yeah, exactly. I still think it was Bill. I think he was done in the way he said it yesterday. He even gave a, oh, well, we think Jack's a good player, but it was just time. Like, I think it was just time. And I don't know if that was a save the locker room move, because even like the vibe yesterday when I was down there, like Dietrich Wise was like, oh no, that was one of my guys. That one hurt. Jack Jones posted on Instagram last night, and Demario Douglas commented like, love you, or like something like that. So like they're friendly with him, but I still think they wanted to get him out of the building because of what he's done. He doesn't, he clearly doesn't follow the rules. He's done plenty more things wrong than right. And so cleanse it. I still think that was a Bill move. I don't think that was like an ownership move. Or
yeah, and then he's taken to Twitter to like, he had a gif of like someone running him with a giant hat for like, that's cap for saying,
yeah, he said
story. Like he showed up late and all that hoo-ha is going on. It makes sense that he reunites with a guy that coached him in high school and college, in Antonio Pierce. But at the same time, yes, we all realize Vegas can be a tricky place to.
Yes.
There's a couple of temptations right down the road from Allegiant Stadium. That's their problem. That's a TP, not an OPR problem anymore. Moving on. At XMike87. Do you think at this point in the season, with all that's gone on, bad tackling, third and longs, red zone, INTs, and horrible special teams and more, do you think Bill might be respectfully losing on purpose?
Nope. I do not believe that. We're not tanking. We just suck. This is all organic failure. Organic failure is the best kind. They are a compost
failure.
They are organic failure. They're returning to the earth.
And hopefully one day from all the crap and the eggshells and the half-eaten celery stalks and everything else, we'll
build a quarterback.
We'll come black gold, and we can rebuild. Next year, we'll grow some fabulous crops and products.
Once it all composts, it is the literally the foundation, the fuel of the future. This is a necessary composting of the New England Patriots right now.
And that's your one thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think they're losing on purpose either. I don't think an NFL team can tank. I feel like there's too much that goes into it. You're right. I just think they suck. I just think we're just bad. And I think that whole, the discipline and the no offsides and stupid penalties and things like that Patriot way that we've talked about, that was the Brady way. That wasn't the Belichick way. I think that's clear. Brady brought that to Tampa. They just don't have discipline, and I think that's a top-down problem, and that's another reason why Bill has to go. So, no, they're not tanking on purpose.
It's also easier to suck than it is to not suck. Like, it's easier to make mistakes. It's easier to, that's what so when you mix talent,
trust me,
questionable motivation, it tends to lead to a suck fest. And we should have made the shirts. I'm telling you, if we had made the damn shirts, we're not tanking, we just suck, we would have sold a lot of those.
I know. I would have made a fortune if I could have sold the shirt that guy sent me 2 weeks ago that has the Patriots type of P and it just says painful across the chest.
Yeah.
Could have made a mint.
Better.
The cease and desist. We would get a C&D for anything related to anything we would put out, try and sell. Not to mention the fact it would actually kind of help if our company had a Shopify or something like that. But all right, I better watch out. I could get suspended. All right, moving on. At Fricka 8.
You and JC Jackson can be happy.
Yeah, exactly. Be happy, be free. Thanks, Gronk. At Fricka 8. Okay, guys, give me a reason to watch this unwatchable team.
I have it,
Mike,
right away. It is you root for them to lose. You watch and you root for the other team and you root for the draft pick. And if Christian Barmore has a nasty run stuff, or if Kyle Duggar makes an interception, or Demario Douglas goes 80 yards for a score, you say, okay, well, at least we can build around those guys. Otherwise, you watch, hope, and you scoreboard watch, and you tankathon watch, and you wait for that number one pick. So there is a reason to watch. It's just not really rooting for them to win per se.
That's probably right. I mean, last week it was fun watching Ramondre run people over in a 10-6 loss.
Right.
Like, there were a couple of those where you're like, ooh, I got excited about Sean Wade coming up on one of those screens like he was Troy Polamalu. Like, there's little jolts of entertainment and excitement and energy in these games. Just, Bryce Behringer, he gets to punt a bunch and you're like, dude, just crushed it. He kicked it 79 yards. That's like a full field. Like, there's a few of those things. So, yeah.
I dare say
might just be no. Go ahead. Yep. Sorry.
No, I was going to say morbid curiosity is the reason why I watch. Aside from the fact that it's my job. Yeah, really. Yeah, just like there's something about it like that. I'm now compelled. Like, how can they find a way to F this up this time? Like, are there any new and unique ways for this to turn out to be Andy, don't put it past him.
There's nothing worse than Mac Jones' throw that got him benched.
We've said that before, though.
I don't know.
No, I saw that. I didn't know that was possible. Now I saw that.
I don't know.
And that's what I was going to say. I don't know if it's just like my sick brain, but it's something about like watching it just burn in front of you that it's like it's freeing. It's almost like we're gonna get it and it's coming and we're gonna get this reset. So watching bad things happen, it's like it's kind of fun. I don't know, it's weird, but
the house is already on fire at this point. It'll be a while till the insurance check comes through. So just let the mother effer burn.
I was just saying that whole time. That
all right, at Maddie _B402 asks, if you do end up with the projected third pick, would you guys take a QB or a once-in-a-lifetime talent like Marvin Harrison Jr.?
Well, is one of the top 2 QBs there? That's my question. If one of the top 2 QBs are there, you have to take him.
Are we assuming Caleb Williams or Drake May goes first overall, right?
Well, I'm assuming Caleb Williams. I still think Caleb Williams is by far the best prospect, the swing, the modern quarterback, the whole thing. So yeah, the question would be, does Drake May go 2? If so, yes, I take Marvin Harrison 3. I get my sure thing, and then I go over to whatever happens in the second round with a quarterback, and Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix, Bo Nix. Bo Nix, by the way, has a ad campaign now. Have you seen this? When you click on random college football stuff, this massive bodacious ad with Bo Nix and like an Oregon logo pops up.
Let's go.
And I'm like, I must be a Heisman thing, I guess. Are they trying to get him the Heisman or just maybe it's a Nike? I didn't even notice what it was actually advertising, but bodacious in like 47-point font was on my screen last night. But no, quarterback is what you have to hit the quarterback. We talked about the 5-point plan.
Mm-hmm.
I only had 3 points: GM, coach, and quarterback. So I need to get the quarterback. I didn't say I needed a receiver. I'd like to, but I need the quarterback.
If the one you like is there, and if you end up, if not, then who knows? I think you need to get the quarterback as well, but I like some of the other prospects as well. Cadlick, real quick, I'll ask, where are you on some of the second? If the top tier is Caleb Williams and Drake May, then the next level is Bo Nix, Michael Penix, JJ McCarthy, who I personally like. I think it would take a year or two.
On Jaden Daniels, he's the number one prospect. He's the number. We had a caller that screamed at us last night. He's the number 1 quarterback. And we're like, how can you say? What are you talking? Based on what? And the guy was just going on college passer rating because he
600 yards in a game will do that for. Okay, and Jaden Daniels, where do you stand on those guys?
So it's obviously it's May and Caleb is in their own tier, I think, and I think Drake May is sneaky coming at nipping at the heels of Caleb Williams, but I still have Caleb 1 for now. Then Drake May. That second tier, I think it's Penix at like 3. Bo Nix, he sucked at Auburn. He was very bad at football at Auburn. He came into Oregon. The system works for him. So he's fine, but I think I'd take Jaden Daniels maybe 4th right now. That kid's awesome. I would take a swing on him. And JJ McCarthy hasn't impressed me. I sat down to watch the Michigan game last weekend to see what they did without Harbaugh, and I was like, all right, this is the day I fall in love with just JJ McCarthy prospect. And he threw the ball like 9 times for like 80 yards. Like it just didn't.
Yeah, they ran it 26 times to put a giant FU up to Penn State, the Big Ten, and the NCAA overall, which I kind of love. And that, full disclosure, I'm a Michigan fan, but I love that as well. But I think the kid's got the whole tool set. It's just going to be what program, where could he go where he could like not have to rush into the pro ranks and have to start year 1. I think he's got tools galore. We'll see.
On this question real quick too, that I find an interesting like twist that I don't know how many people are actually thinking about it this way, but you have the top 3 pick and whoever you take, whatever. If this trade for Belichick is real, you can wind up with another first-round pick and then the 35th pick. And then you have 3 picks in the top 35. So that's
how you reset. Yes.
Right. Like if Belichick's not going to play hardball or if they're going to be able to trade Belichick and get a first-round pick for him, this rebuild just goes like 2x. Because then you have that, whether it's the 15 to the 25th pick, whatever team trades for him, if you can get the first round pick out of him, then you go wide receiver, quarterback, offensive lineman. In the top 35, you have 3 top 35 players in the draft. Like that's when you start cooking. So to to answer the question, I still think you go Marvin Harrison to 3 if the 2 quarterbacks are gone, and then you go from there with the other guys. But we'll see. Marvin Harrison is just a freaking beast.
Yeah, I mean, it seems
he
like
could play in the NFL today.
Oh, sure. And he'd be like a top 10 receiver.
There was a scout who said he'd be a top 5 receiver today if he were playing in the NFL on Sundays instead of Saturdays.
At No Nonsense Pat, are you guys really being fair to Belichick knowing he won a Super Bowl 5 years ago, went to the playoff 3 years ago? This is his first bad year in 25 years. Fire him, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's done.
It's
over.
And it's not his first bad year. Last year was a bad year. I think they've been a poorly coached football team for the bulk of the last 4 years.
2020 also was not a good year. Now, I know Brady left town, but he was also sort of, again, Bill the GM and Bill the coach are inextricably interwoven. Like they go hand in hand. You cannot separate one from the other over this time. So if the team
especially
does well,
because if you try and fire Bill the GM, Bill the coach is going to say, see ya. So they're the same thing.
I continue to go back to 5 years removed from a Super Bowl, coming off his worst year, leading into another worst year at the age of 71 is different. Like the time schedule, the timeline is different with a 70-year-old who's failing.
Right.
What are you smirking at?
What
the hell are you smirking at?
I'm not. I'm excited about the next question. That's why. What's that? No, that's not the cookie one. But it's similar.
It is.
No, I agree with that. I agree 1,010%. Like, this is not just his first bad year. Like, he's had several bad years, and there have been mistakes made that are now indicative of the way the program is run. Again, time for a little fresh scent. All right.
31 other coaches would have been canned by now. You've already given him the leeway.
Great point.
You've already given him the fairness. The fairness is over.
Yes, that's a hard line to set, but no lies detected, Mr. Cadlick. All right, at SRYIDC, which must stand for at Sorry I Don't Care, rate the following burger sides: standard fries, curly fries, tots, sweet potato fries, onion rings.
Oh, this is easy. This is easy by a mile. Well, curly fries is number one by
a mile.
Then I believe French fries would be
pickle pizza. Let the adults talk for a second.
I'm being the adult here. Just wait for it. But go ahead.
Let the people that know food talk. French fries is second. Onion rings would be third. There can be
they're so swing or miss. Yeah,
exactly.
That's the thing.
But when they're good, they're really good. So that puts them third. Then I would say tots and sweet potato fries can. What do you like to say, Fitzy? Just like shoot them into the sun and get rid of them.
Fire them into the sun, kick rocks without socks.
Hate them.
Pound exactly. I would go curly fries, tots, fries, sweet potato fries, onion rings, only because, and I love onion rings, but I need to get like those really good beachside clam shack shoestring onion rings. Like those are, and when they're done perfectly and hot, they're great.
They're awesome.
Those giant beer battered ones where you feel like you're just eating like a half pound of fry.
The raw onion. When you get one that's like not really cooked, it's not good.
All right, Kat. All right, go ahead, Mike.
The Cadlick rankings are French fries 1, tots 2, curly fries 3. Curly fries, like you guys said, let the adults talk. Curly fries are like middle school cafeteria. Throw them out on the thing. Half of them are cold. Half of them are chewy. No. Like they were good for a time, but I'm just kind of over curly fries. They're still really good, but they're not number one. And then you go sweet potato and onion rings. I agree with the onion rings take with you, Fitzy. I think string, beachside, or a Cape Cod, sea shack, whatever, delicious. If they're like thick and nasty and you just get a nice big raw onion, that's disgusting. So that's my take, and I'm standing by it.
And I'm glad to see waffle fries didn't even make the top 5, because some people think like the waffle fries from like a Chick-fil-A or the Goat. Get out of here.
No, waffle fries can be good.
The waffle fries are good.
Oh, waffle fries might be 2 with me if they're a good waffle fry. They might be behind curly fry. They're really good. Really good.
Surface. I don't know. I don't like the surface.
I like
area
the
and
surface,
the texture.
then when I drag it across my little pile of
ketchup. Yeah. Now we're talking.
Now I will say waffle fries are good. As somebody who likes to put potato chips for a layer of crunch in his sandwiches, and I mean just about all of them, waffle fries are excellent for layering on a sandwich or a burger as well.
Yeah.
Take it from a former fat guy. All right. Moving on with actual football talk. At Foxborough Fanatic 6. What do you think it would take to get Vrabel from the Titans or Caserio from the Texans?
Well, I can't imagine you could get Caserio at all.
Caserio's going to stay there. Yep.
Right.
He's got to be so happy there now. They're doing well.
You finally succeeded. He went through as much pain and suffering for multiple years, not just on the field, but off the field with Watson and Easterby. And, you're hiring a coach based on the Bible. And they were a circus sideshow soap opera. Now they are like riding high. Why would he ever leave? Why would they let him leave? So nope, no chance. Titans, I said it earlier, a trash for trash trade. Can I just trade Bill for Vrabel straight up? Let's do it. We both have bad teams with bad coaches and bad results right now. Let's swap them and see if their change of scenery works. Bill's got a house in Franklin, Tennessee. Let him live there.
Yeah, interesting to see where Vrabel's contract situation's at too. If they don't even need to trade for him and they just kind of let him walk, whatever. That's interesting. But I mean, I have a hard time thinking Tennessee's just going to let him walk because I still think he's a really good coach, and I think that they know that. So you might have to trade for him. Caserio ain't going anywhere. He was here, and you mentioned, Andy, the stuff he dealt with in Houston. He also dealt with it here. He was the yes man, the fake GM here, where he kind of made the decisions, but Bill was really doing everything. And then he got his chance, and he's dominated it. I mean, CJ Stroud and all those guys, those young guys, he's built that. He's never leaving, or he shouldn't leave anytime soon. So,
although John McClain did have the most notable nugget yesterday in a podcast that made its way onto my Twitter feed when he said Houston will never admit it, but had they had the number 1 pick, they absolutely would have taken Bryce Young number 1 overall and not CJ Stroud.
Interesting.
Get out of here.
That's what John McClain said.
Yeah, but they didn't.
Yep, and Frank Reich wanted to take, and then we hear that Frank Reich wanted to take Bryce Young, and Tepper forced his hand. Yeah. He wanted to take CJ Stroud, and he had his hand forced. Ooh, interesting indeed. Yeah, that's why owners should just hands off. I mean, if you hire the guys to do the job, let them get those groceries, and then start cooking. We sort of touched on this earlier, but we'll see if there's anyone else you guys have in mind at AJSJR40. So assuming the Pats do bring in a new roster builder, any other potential candidates you'd have in mind? You wanted to talk Kevin Colbert out of retirement, Andy.
Yeah, this is so hard because I don't know enough people. Like everybody I know would be like guys that have been here or come through
like
the
Dimitrov.
system.
Yeah, Dimitrov, Robinson, Austin Ford, or names like that.
Those are all like rehashed candidates. Like, I don't know. You know, Jim Nagy, who's running the Senior Bowl. Like these are the people I know.
Would he ever do that? Wow.
If he does, he's nuts. Like I think he's living a good life.
He's got a great life.
All the Reese's peanut butter cups you can eat. Like there's no pressure. You just put together a roster of all-stars and let them play. And
your tweets are always positive and people appreciate you.
Nice like every person and oh, this guy's great. That's guy he'd be nuts, but sometimes people make nuts decisions or egos kick in, or I don't know. He's probably not making NFL GM money to run the Senior Bowl. If Robert Kraft said, Jim, I always loved you. You do a great job at the Senior Bowl. Here's $15 million to come be my GM. You might have to say, that's a lot of Reese's peanut butter cups I can buy with $15 million.
Yeah. That reminds me, though, of like when the Raiders went and took Mike Mayock off NFL Network. Someone who's just known, you kind of try and make it be cute about it and try and get a slam dunk. Oh, he knows talent. Like, yeah, I guess he knows talent, but he's picking from the top seniors in the country. Now you got to go. I don't know. I don't like the idea of Nagy as much as that kind of.
I don't like anybody. I just don't have a good answer for this because I don't know enough people. Because it's always like, oh, okay, so should we go like Houston? They nailed the draft. So who's second in charge in Houston to Caserio? Like that's the way this generally works. But
I was gonna say go get Howie Roseman second in charge in Philly. Howie Roseman.
Oh yeah, he's that's a good one. Or like, gee whiz, the roster in San Francisco is pretty good. Who's John Lynch's the lieutenant?
Well, and one of those is it still Adam whatever, who's a former Patriot?
Yes, I forget his name, but I know who you're talking about. Yeah,
he has Patriot ties. So Fitzy just stumbled into something. Kind of has the best of both worlds. The San Francisco shine on him, but also a little bit of knowledge of how New England works and is under the Kraft family. So maybe him.
There you
Adam
go.
Peters.
All right.
Adam Peters.
Nice
Let's
job.
hope he doesn't Peters out in New England.
All right. And Turf,
headline heart.
All right. And let's play this around the horn style. Let's just mute Andy's mic for a second. Let him go to timeout corner.
15 points.
Alex Lacoste.
How about Peters pans out? Peters.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Captain, hook him out of here.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Oh, come on. That's terrible.
Yeah. Okay. At this point in the season, is anyone on the Patriots worthy of Pro Bowl or All Pro? And if so, who?
No.
No.
This season, no.
No, there's not
Absolutely
a single. Wait, side note, like, do they treat it like the MLB All-Star game? Does there have to be a representative from every team?
Nope. I don't believe so. No.
No, you don't need it.
No, I mean, there's nobody who could sniff an All-Pro. Pro Bowl, if you somehow said like Christian Gonzalez had a good month and that's enough to get him in,
enough.
Kind of
Well,
thing.
not happening.
He was talking to the Hanover kids the other night. Yeah, he's put his time in.
Yeah, I don't. No, there's nobody.
The closest is probably Barmore, and he is not near Pro Bowl caliber right now, as far as
I guess
is in the league.
If
Jabril Peppers
Stevenson rushed for north of 80-something yards each of the final 7 games like he's done the last 2 weeks, could I talk myself into him because he's going to have a bunch of catches to go with it? Probably not, but I mean,
yeah.
No, nobody.
I would say Jabril Peppers, the only one who possibly could would be Peppers.
Although, to be fair, who was the Ravens guy that went the quarterback? It could be like Malik Cunningham.
Tyler Huntley.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had 2 touchdown passes last year.
If Will Grier plays the final 7 games and is decent, it could be Will Grier for all I know.
Right.
All right. And the most important question in the mailbag today, in a nice little 12-pack that we had to split amongst us here on the Six Rings and Football Things mailbag podcast from @Brianco84. Boys, Oreos or chocolate chip cookie?
Oreos. Is this even a question? Wait, what was that? What was that?
Oreos.
Mike.
Guys, come on.
Are you kidding?
Here. It's Oreos.
There is maybe first of all, if I'm enjoying a store-bought cookie, I'm a Nutter Butter guy.
Ooh.
Over Oreos. That's
I'm
just
not
me.
Sure about that.
Oh no.
So, some of the
that's me.
Some of the basic some of the
alternative
Oreos are really good. The party cake, I forget the one. The red velvet is phenomenal.
The s'more. I think there was a s'mores one.
Yep, those I
good.
like. But even those, a good chocolate chip cookie, whether it's homemade or you go to a good bakery, or hell, go to Gillette Stadium and get the chocolate chip cookie.
The jumbo cookies are great.
So much better.
Side note: have you guys ever put a little sea salt on top of your chocolate chip cookie? And if not, enjoy the fact that I just changed your world.
Yeah, the salt with chocolate combo is lethal.
The best.
It's lethal.
The best.
You said Oreo?
Well, okay. Are we talking like if we're talking like a homemade, hot out the oven chocolate chip cookie, then I'd probably take that over an Oreo.
Not a Chips Ahoy.
How do you compare an Oreo to you have to compare it to Chips Ahoy because they're both store bought, in my opinion.
I would still take the extra
Chips Ahoy,
extra soft or whatever chocolate.
Yeah, but but there are some people, Mike, though, that are just like so in love with the idea that you can twist them and you can double stack them and make mega Oreos, and they do dunk and consume milk brilliant. Like they are engineered to perfection that the cookies just pick up all.
Is borderline gross. The cookie from an Oreo is borderline gross.
Dude, Andy. Now, if you were gonna say what's a better add-on or mashup with like ice cream, like if you go to DQ and you get the Blizzard, the cookies and cream Blizzard,
unbelievable. Cookies and cream is the best ice cream of all time.
All time,
different time.
Yep. Finally, we agree unanimously on something. Cookies and cream, greatest ice.
You know why? Because the ice cream makes the cookie taste good. The cookie on itself is not good. It's not good at all.
I disagree.
Well, you're wrong.
All right. Well, okay. And gentlemen, much like on many topics throughout this unusual, unfortunate, and unpleasant season, let's just walk away agreeing to disagree for the time being and hope that some of these thoughts, these mailbag questions, and the necessary components of the rebuild compost into a brighter future and a better tomorrow. Good job, boys. Thank you to everybody who submitted the questions for today's mailbag podcast. We'll get together and do another one of these sometime very soon. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow to Six Rings and Football Things. In place of Cadlick's crucial clashes on the bye week, it'll be a State of the Patriots where Mike and Andy together review who you got, why you got him, and if anyone's actually worth holding on, what the story is with the coach, the quarterback, and more. And then Friday, it looks like we're going to have a fabulous Foxborough forum. Myself and Hart will be joined by a couple of our regular, shall we say, Zoomers, callers, Pat's Wonks and beyond. Looks like we'll have Perillo and Giardi with us, so you're not going to want to miss that one as well. For Terp, for at Mike Cadlick, at Jumbo Hart, I'm your old pal Nick Fitzy Stevens at Fitzy GFY. This has been Six Rings and Football Things, sponsored by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. A presentation of WEEI, Odyssey, and 2400 Sports. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you soon. Good day. God bless. And yes, piss.
Gross.